for this trap shit. Sergeant Smack make it backflip. Telly Hank did with the action. With the Vato speaking Spanish. Frank Matthews, how I vanish. Poof. Came back like I'm King Tut. Gold BBS is on a beamer. When Fat Cat was 10 queens up. Ball off the profit, not the re-up. Fly like Puerto Rican Jesus. Uptown like I'm Baby Maine. Just caught a touchdown from the Bay.
One woman tells us she feared for her life.
I ran him because I think they're going to kill me. He was close to me.
Look at it. This is Noah Settles, the man police say went on to fire a gun inside Tysons Corner Mall. In this video, shared on social media platforms, Settles becomes more and more angry as the man recording taunts him.
Come on, trust it. Yeah, get out this motherfucker.
Step into the ball.
Stop running, I'm gonna bust your ball. Reach out with my
Step into the ball.
Cell phone video from another angle shows what happened next on the second floor of the mall. The gunshots causing panic on a Saturday afternoon.
All the time. Our crime analysts in the National Capital Region are second to none. So it's not an issue of a lack of intelligence or information sharing. That's at a gold standard level. Now, the age-old question is, why are they in this altercation? I don't know. It speaks to human nature. It speaks to the dynamics of belonging to a crew. They're largely the 37th Street crew members. On this particular Saturday were dressed in black, and the Simple City guys were dressed in white. They probably know each other. They do know each other. We know they know each other. And what starts as a look, or a gesture, or a smirk, or an eye roll turns into a verbal altercation, and then words turn into pushing and shoving. And if it stopped there, that wouldn't be ideal, but if it stopped there, that'd be a heck of a lot better than an altercation like this ending with gunfire. But that's where we are. They were armed. At least Noah Settles was armed. We know Noah Settles was armed, and you can see the still picture, and hopefully you all got a shot of that. I think it's back up. Thankfully, Tysons has made a big public safety investment with cameras, and thank God that they have, because not only did we capture Noah Settles armed with a firearm right before or as he discharges it, but we also capture the black Cadillac that's leaving Tysons as well.
Developments in that terrifying shooting inside Tysons Corner Mall. You remember this man. This is the accused shooter, Noah Settles. Tonight, his lawyer claims Settles may have been acting in self-defense. Bruce LaShan was in the Fairfax County courtroom today.
We got our first sense of the D.C. rapper's defense in this case, both from his lawyer and from his father.
You're saying he was shooting in self-defense?
Yes, he was.
Prosecutors say 22-year-old Noah Settles, who goes by the name No Savage in his multi-million view videos online, fired 3 shots in the midst of the Father's Day weekend crowd at Tysons Corner Center, sending hundreds of shoppers running for their lives, but not hitting anyone.
And they also proved that 2 other people had weapons that day too. They just don't have them in custody.
Now his father is arguing Settles was just trying to protect himself. Police say he had been in a fight earlier with rival D.C. gang members. In court, his lawyer argued if Settles fired those 3 shots, it was merely reckless, not malicious, as prosecutors allege.
No, it wasn't malicious. If that's what you say, anybody that fires a gun is malicious.
But a Fairfax County judge found probable cause to send all the charges, including malicious discharging of a weapon and attempted malicious wounding, on to a grand jury.
People need to know that you cannot come into Fairfax County, shoot up a mall, and expect to walk out with anything other than a very, very stiff prison sentence.
If convicted of all 5 counts in this case, Settles faces as much as 43 years in prison.
An hour ago, we got word of a guilty plea in last June's shooting in Tysons Corner Center. While no one was injured in that gunfire at the mall, many families at the mall that Saturday found themselves separated after scattering from the sound of shooting. WSA 9's Matthew Torres joins us live now from the Fairfax County Courthouse with those plea details. Matt?
Hey, Charlotte, it was just minutes ago when we spoke to Steve Descando, the Fairfax County Commonwealth's attorney, reacting to the guilty pleas. As you might remember, it was back on Father's Day last year at the Tysons Corner Mall when 23-year-old Noah Settles fired his gun 3 times. And as of this morning and about an hour ago, he has now entered 4 guilty pleas. 3 of them for malicious discharge in an occupied dwelling, and the last count for the use of a firearm. He was also facing 3 other charges, misdemeanor cases. Those have been dropped under the plea agreement. And what's interesting to note is that even though he did enter the guilty pleas, under the agreement, he is not admitting to guilt, but acknowledging that if this case did go to trial, that the Commonwealth's Attorney's Office did have enough evidence to find, so the jury could find him guilty. So in order to avoid all of that, he did plead guilty to those 4 charges. Now today, Settles was also in the courtroom today, and during the time that the prosecutors presented new video evidence of the actual shooting, he had his head down. We know there was a dispute with a rival gang inside that mall, when minutes later there was clearly an escalation of the situation, and we saw one video at a kiosk in that mall where you see Settles taking out his gun and then firing his gun 3 times. We are working to get a copy of these videos to show you for our newscast later. But for now, we know that he could face up to 33 years in prison. A sentencing date has been scheduled in June. Reporting live in Fairfax, I'm Matthew Torres, WUSA 9.
And we remember how terrifying it was for all of those families in that mall that day. All right, thanks so much, Matthew.
Now, for those of y'all that are not hip, I'm going to put y'all onto some game that an old nigga put me on to the first time I ever passed through VA. And I never forgot that shit. He said that this is a place that you come to on vacation and you leave on probation. Hey, we in the district. Shit got Popalot. What up, though? I can't remember the amount of times, but often with up-and-coming rappers, as people, we would offer up advice or suggestions that they should probably move out of the hood, due to the numerous times we've seen rappers on the cusp of fame lose their lives in their own neighborhoods. But that might be the main reason we offer that advice, but it's not the only reason. Today we're going to be covering somebody that, depending on who you ask, they could arguably say that this person was the hottest up-and-coming artist from their city. But shout out to Big YSL, he go too. And that person would be a guy by the name of Noah No Savage Settles, who for the past few years have been making a name for himself in the DC rap scene as a member of Shy Glizzy's Glizzy Gang Collective. While only 22 at the time, No Savage will find himself in a situation on Father's Day weekend of 2022 that would change the course of his career and his life. So to try to put this situation in perspective, I want to present evidence to y'all to a point that I'm about to prove. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys remember a shooting in March of 2015 involving Lil Wayne, his tour bus, and Pee Wee Roscoe. Now, if you don't remember, you can go and check out the episode that we did on Pee Wee Roscoe. But as details of that shooting would emerge, 50 Cent would go online and do an Instagram post when he found out that Pee Wee Roscoe could have faced up to 20 years for that shooting, even though he didn't hit anybody. Now, just to try to compare the situations, Pee Wee Roscoe would fire several shots in an attempt to kill a world-famous rapper, and he would face 20 years. Now, No Savage would fire 3 shots in a mall, didn't hit anybody, and had he taken this to trial, they would have damn sure gave him them 43 years. And he was only trying to kill a gangbanger. Most places, they only give you 25 for a murder. They was going to give him an extra 18 on the house. And if you ask why, let me try to explain. A lot of times, it ain't what you doing, it's where you doing it at. And it just so happens that the location that No Savage chose is going to get you linebacker numbers every time. And if that don't explain to y'all how serious the situation is, the mall is 12 miles away from the Pentagon. Man, Joe Biden's aide could have been shopping in that bitch. And don't get me wrong, even the shooting on the street corner would get you a stiff sentence in this part of the United States. But when you commit that shooting at a mall with high-end retailers like Gucci and Louis Vuitton, and the majority of the people are wealthy and white, fuck making you the poster child for something. They gonna put you on a billboard. Now, No Savage, one of the hottest up-and-coming artists coming out of the district, would make his debut about 3 years ago on October the 30th, 2019, when he would release a song titled No Hook that would go on to amass about 3 million views. He would build on to that success, releasing several other videos that would amass about the same amount of views as his No Hook debut. Now, No Savage, who is said to be from and heavily affiliated with the 37th Street crew, would find himself in the middle of a decade-long war between his 37th Street crew and a rival neighborhood that's about 5 minutes from his on the southeast side of DC, called Simple City, and a conflict where countless individuals have lost their lives due to the close proximities of these neighborhoods. No Savage would find himself on the front line of this war on Father's Day of 2022, when, according to his father and his lawyer, he would fire 3 shots in self-defense. He wouldn't get too far from the scene, and police would apprehend him with the gun that was involved in the shooting. And I'm sure after thinking about probably the mountains of evidence they have against him, the millions of cameras they have just in that section of the city alone, and probably that 43-year sentence that they had over his head, he would go on to take an offered plea where he wouldn't plead guilty, but he would consent that the government had enough evidence to convict him. With his sentencing date about 2 months away, he's facing anywhere from a minimum of 3 years to a maximum of 33 years. And in telling this story, it made me realize that a lot of people forget the ultimate goal once they taste some success. And it's all too often that people end up in a lose-lose situation, because often a lot of them will have the mindset to whereas I grew up here, ain't nobody running me out of my hood, and that might be a fact. But even if you don't get killed, you're going to be constantly put in a situation where you might be forced to crash out every day. Now, make sure y'all hit the red bell and subscribe button right under this video so y'all know when this real Trill Spill shit is dropping. Y'all get in the comment box. Y'all let me know exactly how much time y'all think No Savage is facing. How the situation could have been different. Y'all let me know what cities we need to go to, what stories we need to tell, what gangsters we haven't covered, what we got wrong. In Chocolate City, it's been love as always. We appreciate y'all rolling out the red carpet. Anybody that need to tap in with me directly, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, POP_A_LOT. I'm going to be back before you know it. It's your guy Popalot. Salute the almighty MOBB.